Hello, hello everyone. It's 5 o'clock, and you know that I love to be punctual. So I'm going to get started. Welcome to this live interview with one of my fabulous students. Thank you so much for joining us. Let us know in the chat where you're tuning in from. We love to hear where you guys are. Why are you learning Portuguese? How are you getting on with the journey so far? It's always great to know who is listening. We'll just take a second to make sure that the live stream is set up correctly. Can you hear me and see me? Give me a yes in the chat if that's all working, and I'll let my team give me a thumbs up too. Awesome. Okay, that's good. Don't be shy to say hello. I know there's 22 of you here already. Beth Sands is here from Lisbon. Hello. Good to see you. Hopefully we've got a few of our students in the chat today. They love coming and supporting other students. It's such a supportive environment. So we have somebody from San Diego in California, somebody listening in from Scotland, somebody from Tavira in the Algarve. Lots of yeses to say that you can hear me and see me. Brilliant. Well, that is the first hurdle over with then. All the live tech is working, which we love to hear. All right, perfect. So if you've come along to one of these before, you know that this is all about me sitting down with one of my students that I work with to hear more about their journey with Portuguese and hear, most importantly, about the amazing progress that they have achieved since we've been working together. So you know that I don't teach to help you pass exams. That can be a really great byproduct of what I do. But what I really want to help people do is live a better life in Portugal, live a happier life where they can make good friends, make connections, make memories, and just generally have a great time. And that is something that the student we're talking to today, Lisa, has definitely achieved. So we're going to talk all about her journey, where she started, where she's at now, and how she got there, because the point of this is to encourage as many of you listening as possible to start your journey. Or maybe you've started it and you've stalled halfway through, you've given up thinking, oh, this just isn't something that I'm going to be able to do. I'm not a languages person, I'm too old, I'm not in Portugal, so it's impossible to learn. Hopefully through our conversation today, you're going to see that that's just not true. We can turn those ideas around, and you can see that, you know, learning Portuguese can make such a big difference to your relationship and to your life. So if you're tuning in, you probably do already know who I am. My name is Liz, and I'm the host of the YouTube channel Talk the Streets that teaches practical Portuguese in plain English. But I am also the creator of the Portuguese Pro program, which is an online course and community that takes you from saying your very first words up to having your first full conversation with native speakers. And that is how I met Lisa, another wonderful student I can't wait for you to meet. So let's go ahead and add her to the stream so we can hear her story. Olá, Lisa.
Olá, boa tarde.
Boa tarde. Oh, it's great to see you and your smiling face. I can't tell you guys how lovely it is to see Lisa in our live sessions, because she's always beaming and can't wait to tell me her latest win or her latest thing that she's done in Portuguese, which is lovely. But people at home don't know you as well as I do, Lisa. So let's start at the very beginning and talk about who you are and why you decided to learn Portuguese.
Well, I am from the Bay Area in California, and I fell in love with a Portuguese man.
Okay,
and
that's a good start.
He wanted to retire in Portugal. So I did a little scouting trip out here, and I was like, no, I love Portugal. So, and I'm the type of person, I'm not going to live somewhere if I'm not going to speak their language. And I'm very fiercely independent, and I didn't want, every time I have to go to the store or, you know, go to a government office, I don't want to have to drag along somebody to help translate. So yeah, that's where I started, and I'm in Portugal now.
Okay, amazing. So your inspiration was, of course, your partner. But tell me a little bit about when you first started learning Portuguese before we started working together. What were some of the difficulties you were coming across? And let us know in the chat if you relate to any of these, because everybody starts in this same place where they think, right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to learn Portuguese. And then the obstacles start to stack up. What were some of the things that for you made it difficult in the beginning?
initially I started like with Duolingo, and then Marcelo said, no, 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 wrong Portuguese. And it's okay, fine. And then I was seeing your videos on YouTube, so I started Memrise. And the way my brain works, I could memorize stuff all day long. I could memorize, yeah, I know the answer to that question when I know exactly what we're talking about, and I can pick the right answer. But I wasn't able to put things together. And I felt like, yeah, I can play these games on these apps all day long. But when Marcelo would say something to me, I'm like, I have no idea what you just said, sweetheart.
Yeah, that's the thing. An app is the first thing that people will reach for, and it does a really good job of tricking you into making you thinking you're making progress and learning, right? But often, as you say, it's just very small snippets of things that you've memorized.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to making your own sentences in a conversation, you can get really lost. What was it like trying to learn with your partner helping you? Because lots of people would think, oh, she's so lucky she has a partner at home that could help her.
No,
How did that go?
help is not the right word there. Help is not the right word. He found it very entertaining. When he had the patience, he would try to help me, but he couldn't explain to me. Just it's like I can't teach somebody English. I speak it, but I can't tell you why we use the words the way we use them and what, you know. I just know how to say it because it's my language. And so he was the same way. It's like, well, that's just because that's how it is.
It just is.
Yeah.
You're like, well, that's not going to help me.
That doesn't help me at all. So yeah, he just found it very entertaining. I would actually, like, after I started your course, to practice my pronunciation, I would read to him, and he would
that
giggle.
Was more helpful. So sad. All right. Yeah, so that's a really important distinction, right? Being corrected and having someone explain to you why something is the way it is, because that's the more useful piece that's going to help you remember it in the future. And that's what I think a lot of people are like, but Liz, you're a native English speaker. Why are you teaching Portuguese and not English? And I'm like, well, I actually know more about how the Portuguese language works because I had to learn it myself and make sense of it myself. So I think that's a really important distinction. Okay, so the apps weren't helping so much. Your boyfriend wasn't helping so much.
No.
So then you came to work with us. If we fast forward to today, Lisa, what are you able to do with your Portuguese? How are you using it on a day-to-day basis? Because from where I'm sitting, you're using it so much.
I use it, well, okay, so background, I live with Marcelo's mother, who's 89, love her to death. She speaks zero English, zero, and she can't read or write, so I can't even do the app and like translate and show it to her, because so I have to, if I'm going to communicate with her, it has to be in Portuguese and it has to be pronounced properly, or she doesn't know what I'm saying. And so there's cousins coming in and out all day, and they all speak only Portuguese. They don't speak English. So if I want to communicate, I have to communicate in Portuguese. And they are very helpful. They're very patient with me. And I, sometimes have to restart a sentence a couple times because, oh, no, that's the wrong, no, that's okay. But they're patient with me and they do correct me sometimes. But if I'm not speaking Portuguese, I'm not speaking.
That's incredible. So you are actually living in a place where you couldn't get by with English, even if you wanted to. And that's actually probably, a big factor as to why you've improved so quickly. But I love your willingness to try, because every time we speak to you, you have a new story of when you've used your Portuguese out in town.
Well, even in this town, because I remember, people are always saying, oh, there's always somebody who speaks English. Not in Gafania. Not in any of this. No, it's all Portuguese or nothing. And initially, it was very intimidating for me. But now, like today, I went to the store and I needed to get some things. And she had to explain to me that I put the cart in the wrong place. And I was like, oh, I couldn't remember the word for cart. But I told her kind of chuckling, yeah, esquece a palavra para esta coisa. I forgot the name for that thing.
Yes. And that's a really good way of getting around it when you don't remember the exact word. So that's amazing, because I know you've gone from a place where you felt super scared to even try. And now I love what you said. It's Portuguese or nothing. So
Yeah.
I really have to go for it. Well, amazing. We're going to talk more about the specifics of all that in a second. But for anyone who's just joined in, because I know we have people coming in and out, I'm here with my student Lisa, who's sharing her experience of learning Portuguese with me to give you guys the confidence to do the same. She started from 0 and feeling very intimidated, and is now living in a place where no one speaks English, and she's getting by every day. So if that is something that you need to be able to do and you want to learn to do, then just go to talkthestreets.com apply to see if you qualify for an application call to hopefully come and join us inside the program. So if that is sounding good to you and you want to find out more, that is what you need to go and do. Okay, it's just on the bottom of the screen there. Wonderful. Okay, so how about we take a look at a couple of pictures and you can tell me some stories
Okay.
about these wonderful people that you're using your Portuguese with. So here we have
that is my dearest mother-in-law, Augusta. That's who I live with. She's 89, no English. She is just a ray of sunshine.
That's so wonderful. And this is a new bike you were very proud of?
That was, but I have a different one now. That was my starter bike, but I have a different one now. I use my scooter more than anything here.
I can really hear, Lisa, what an independent lady you are. You're like, I've got my scooter, I've got my Portuguese, I'm handling everything
I'm out
around
here.
town.
I'm going to
Yes, and you have a local restaurant you go to as well, right? And then you know exactly how to order your chicken and what you want.
They know me now. Every time I go in there, they're like, "Hola, Lisa."
Amazing. And who is this gang of happy people? Also,
okay, so there's me in the corner, of course, and then the younger couple were coming from America, and they didn't speak Portuguese, so I was recruited to be the translator for that day. And of course, there's Augusta, and then the older gentleman is a cousin, and the older woman on the left is Augusta's goddaughter. So those two are my, like, when Tony comes over, Tony's the older gentleman, he'll come over and just do this. And I'm like, okay, we're going somewhere. And I hop in the car and we go do adventures. And he's also very calm, and he lets me stutter and use my Portuguese. And he just, there's no rush. He just calmly sits and waits, and he understands what I have to say eventually.
Amazing. And what about getting some of the practical stuff done? Because I know that this is something that people really dread, but you actually came out from your appointment to get your digital ID with a big smile on your face. Normally people are like in tears and like, I can't ever go back there. Don't make me ever do that again. And you had a great time. Tell us about how you were able to navigate that.
Well, I started out knowing what documents I needed to bring, because I'd talked to somebody who went through it before, and she said, okay, this is what you need. And I'm like, you know what? What's the worst that's going to happen? And you need to remember that people appreciate that you're trying. That people appreciate that you're trying to speak the language, and they have a lot of grace. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I waited for my number to come up. The first obstacle is you get these little kiosks, and it's all in Portuguese, and you have to know what you're there for. But I got it. I did it. And so then I waited, and I got called up, and I explained to her in Portuguese. Eu preciso my chave mobile. And she says, do you have this? Yeah, here's this. Do you have this? Here's this. She says, okay. And is this your right address? This is my address. And okay, cool, done. And lickety split. And it wasn't even hard, which made me so happy, because I understood what she had to say, and she understood what I was saying, and it was quite a win. I was very pleased.
Amazing. Well, listen, anyone who is watching, if you do have a question for Lisa, because we are going to move into sort of Lisa's tips and how she got to where she is. If you have questions for Lisa, please write them in the chat and we will come to them in a little bit. So if there's anything that you want to know about how she got to where she is now, then please do that. So I really liked you starting to talk about how it makes you feel there, because could you have imagined a few months ago that this is what it was gonna feel like to be in Portugal? Because you must have been really nervous when you were making this huge move to go and live with your mother-in-law.
Yeah, yeah. Very, very intimidating, but I'm the type of person is, what's the worst going to happen? And I'm fortunate that I was dropped into a family.
Mm-hmm.
They don't speak English, but I was dropped into a family. Everybody who cares about me, make sure I have what I need. But yeah, even after the first few months, I'm like, oh, geez, this is really tough. I don't want to be dependent on Marcella going with me everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But initially, I was really intimidated to go to the store or to go to a restaurant or, well, everybody at the gym speaks English. All the trainers speak English at the gym. But then it's kind of a turning point where you just get tired of sitting around the house. Like, I'm going to go. I'm gonna go. I've been studying. I've got some more vocabulary under my belt. I'm just gonna go and see how it goes. And it's like a snowball effect. The more positive experiences you have, the more times, and the more times that somebody tells me, "No, your Portuguese is really good."
Which happens quite often, right? You're always posting that in the community.
Well, because we do the pronunciation workshop, and well, that's a double-edged sword there, Liz, because you're pronouncing things really well, and then they assume that you know a lot more Portuguese than you know. So I'll tell people, a senhora fala mais devagar e eu tenho sorte. If the lady speaks slower, I'll have some luck.
Yes.
But yeah, it's the more people tell you out in the wild, yeah, Portuguese is really good, and it just kind of gives you courage to go out and then get things wrong, to say the wrong word. And Marcelo did give me he says, it is kind of funny when you get the wrong words. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
It is funny, and you have to be able to laugh at yourself and like, yeah, no, I totally got the wrong word there.
Yeah, I think changing your mindset around what does it mean when you make a mistake? Does it mean that like, oh, you're a failure and you're never going to learn the language and everyone's laughing at you? Absolutely not. Does it mean like, oh, that was kind of cute and it doesn't matter because no one died and now I won't forget that word again because it's going to be like...
Yeah, the words encomenda and the word for work. See, I can't think of it right now.
Trabalho.
No, the other one.
Funciona.
It doesn't matter right now because I can't think of it.
Okay.
But I tell Augusta that I had a package coming. And what I was saying is I have work coming.
Oh, okay.
And she was really confused, but I had to go. And then I talked to Marcelo later, and he's like, "What were you trying to say?" And I said, "Oh," he says, "encomenda."
Yes.
Yeah, package. And so yeah, that I can't remember the word for the.
And that's going to happen sometimes.
Yeah,
and
you're going to get the wrong word, and they look at you funny, and you're like, okay, that must have been the wrong word. And then you just try to find a different way to explain it. And I think I've explained it's like that magnetic game you have on the fridge with the words.
Yeah.
You're trying to make a sentence. You're trying to make yourself understood with the words that you know.
Yes.
And sometimes
you don't need to know every word.
No, you can work around it. And eventually they know what you're saying.
Yeah.
And they just kind of find it funny that I couldn't think of the word, but we got there. We got to the understanding part.
And that's what I love about your attitude as well, because again, people listening, there's no like secret sauce or magic pill. Actually, it's the confidence to go out and try. And I think Lisa is just such a shining example of that. And I love the way you described it as like a snowball effect. That's what I say. I say it's like a virtuous circle instead of a vicious circle, which would be, well, I'm not going to speak Portuguese because I'm bad at it. And then when I try, I don't sound good. And then people tell me I'm wrong. And so then I'm not going to speak. And it just goes in a circle like that. If we do it the other way around, like you've done, which is focus on the pronunciation, focus on the things that you do know, go out and do the things that you want to be able to do independently, it will all work in a positive snowball effect. So I love that. So we're going to have to listen to a little bit of your Portuguese so that people can hear how you do, Lisa. And speaking of our pronunciation workshop, so For those of you who don't know, for people inside my program, twice a week we get together and we go through people's pre-submitted audio. So in this one, you were reading from a listening challenge. So again, this isn't beginner text. This is like a little bit more detailed, more of like a top of an A2 level that you're reading so beautifully, talking about what we do in the winter time. So let's take a little listen to Lisa's Portuguese.
For doing listening challenge number 40. No inverno, passo muito tempo com a família. Aproveitamos muito bem este tempo juntos. É uma oportunidade para juntar avós, tios, primos e até sobrinhos que não se veem há muito tempo. Estes encontros acontecem muitas vezes nas casas maiores ou nas quintas dos nossos avós, onde há espaço para todos. Durante o dia, os adultos conversam e recordam histórias do passado, enquanto as crianças brincam juntas no jardim. O almoço é sempre especial, com pratos tradicionais como arroz de pato ou leitão. Depois da refeição, teremos uma fotografia de grupo para guardar como recordação. Estas reuniões reforçam os laços entre diferentes gerações e uma forma de nos entretermos nos dias chuvosos.
Beautiful. So again, this wasn't a simple, my name is Lisa,
No.
I live in Portugal. This is much more complicated, and you read that so fluidly. Tell me how you've enjoyed the pronunciation workshops and how they've helped you get to this point in your Portuguese.
Oh, the pronunciation workshop is like, I can't think of the word. It's super important. For one, you don't need to know what you're reading initially. You just are looking at the words and at the spellings and going back to what you taught us and trying your best to pronounce it. And then, you know, as you're going along, as you're learning more and more and more, you start to understand what you're reading. And it's again a positive snowball effect, you know, and we are always looking for how much yellow is going to be there.
There wasn't too much yellow there
at all.
Too
much yellow, but what I'm trying to do now, when I first started submitting, is I would practice and practice and practice and practice and then submit. Now I'm like, nope, we're just going to do a cold read, because that way I think it's better feedback for me. Of what I really, that's why I'm stuttering when I'm reading it, because I was like, oh, that's a tough one. But no, the pronunciation workshops are vital, absolutely vital.
Amazing. And now you're actually reading in Portuguese, is that right?
Oh yeah. I decided, because I have a Kindle on my iPad, and so I'm reading Project Hail Mary. And when I first started, it was very tedious because I don't know, just my vocabulary wasn't there. I'm about a third of the way through the book, and I can get sometimes even a whole page where I don't understand all the words, but I can follow what's going on.
Yeah. That's the important thing.
Yeah, that's the important part. And, you know, for me, one of the turning points was really drilling the conjugation of the verbs. Because it's one thing to know that the verb ter is to have, but when you conjugate,
you're not necessarily going to recognize
like that. So just recognizing the different conjugations of the verbs, that way when I hear it or when I see it, it's like, oh, okay, so I know that it's third person or second person just because of the way it's conjugated, and I know it's present or past by the way it's conjugated. And it just kind of opened up a different avenue for me. I don't know if that's the right way to explain it. I understand more that I got those verbs drilled into my head.
Yeah, and again, once again, to remind you guys, this is a beginner's course. People come to us with absolutely zero Portuguese, and in the space of a few months, they are able to tackle things like reading real novels. So I know
Mm-hmm.
that several of the students I've brought on to do these interviews have been doing this as an activity and really enjoying it. And it just goes to show that once you have your grammar in place, your pronunciation rules in place, things are going to start to click and make
Mm-hmm.
sense, and you're going to be able to look at native level texts, and especially from a reading perspective, be able to understand a lot of what's going on. Just quickly, because I know that I have to keep mentioning as people drop in and out, if Lisa's story has impressed you today and you are starting to gain some, okay, well, maybe I could do this and learn some Portuguese. If you're interested in joining us, you just need to go to talkthestreets.com/apply to see if you qualify for an application call to come join us inside the program. If this is sounding good and you want to find out more, that is where you need to go. So we can't let you go, Lisa. We've got 5 more minutes. We can't let you go without getting some of your top advice. So let's say, I know we've got a couple of people in the chat here who've just started Portuguese Pro, or people who are listening who think, okay, maybe I could give Portuguese another go. What would be some of your advice for someone who's getting started and feeling as intimidated as you were in the beginning of starting this journey? Not necessarily with me, but in general, learning Portuguese. What have you found that's been the most helpful for you?
Well, when I first started, I think it was you or Eduardo had said, just do the course as prescribed. Don't get bogged down. If if this one section seems a little gray, just keep moving forward, because the next section, when you start learning that, the previous section starts to make more sense. So just keep moving forward. And other than that, just try something in Portuguese every day. And, if just try, you just put yourself out there, do the pronunciation workshops. That's vital. Do the listening challenges, do the reading challenges, do the writing challenges, just because you guys are so kind in your corrections. There's no fear there. Just do it. Just try and be prepared to fail. Be prepared to get the words wrong. Be prepared to pronounce wrong. Because it's only from making those mistakes that you're going to learn. So you just keep going. Don't give up. Just keep going.
I love that advice, because it's kind of the unconventional advice, right? People want to know, well, how long should I study, and which material should I use, and all of these very practical questions. But I think what you're talking about just getting yourself out there, just doing something every day, that's a big one, because consistency is it helps you way more than sitting down once and doing 8 hours intensively. To do a small amount every day is what's really going to add up. So I think that's a really helpful question. Charles has asked, how long have we been working together? Do you remember, Lisa?
It was a year before I came here that I started studying, but I think with you guys was 6 months before I came here. So it's been a year and a half, because as of yesterday, 1 year in Portugal.
Amazing. Okay, yes, happy anniversary for being in Portugal. Okay, so 18 months to get to where you are, where you're able to get by in a 100% Portuguese environment. You're able to navigate your social life, you're able to navigate the bureaucracy, and you're even enjoying reading a Portuguese book. I love that. Is there anything else we haven't chatted about that you'd like to share? And also, I have to ask you, would you recommend the Portuguese Pro program?
Oh, heck yes.
You can say that. That's okay.
No. I suggest it to everybody. There's an expat community here, and their Portuguese just is so bad. I'm like, no, try this. But advice is just plan to get things wrong. You're gonna get things wrong. Just do it anyway.
Yeah, you can't avoid it. So hey,
no,
let's get into it.
Embrace the challenge, and just try. Just keep trying. Amazing. And I explained to somebody the other day. When Marcelo asked me, "What's it like?" Like initially, it's like listening to a radio station that's cutting out. So I catch, you used to catch like every 10th word. And now when I sit at the cafe with all the ladies in the morning, I can follow the conversation pretty well. And it's only because I try.
Yeah, exactly. That's your secret ingredient, right? And
Just
I think
try.
that's the main takeaway that I think everyone listening is going to take away. So we have to end it, unfortunately, Lisa, because we have a pronunciation workshop to get to.
I'll
But
see you over there.
yeah, it's been so delightful to hear your story, to see your pictures of you looking so happy in Portugal, to get to know your family, and your experience has been a real blessing. So thank you for sharing this. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. The website is on the screen, talkthestreets.com/apply if this sounds like something you'd like to try. We would love to hear from you. All right. Ciao for now, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.